Ready?
Good afternoon, Mr. Mark Gassert. Elevate your profits. We are live.
Man, beautiful. Live on a Monday. And
Monday.
we're getting closer. We're just about, a lot of people don't want to admit this, but November is getting ready to come and go.
Yeah, we got Thanksgiving next weekend. What are you doing for Thanksgiving?
We actually don't know yet. We're trying to figure out where we're going and who we're going to go see. So
just let me know what time you want me to bring the dessert. I'll show up.
Oh, good.
Okay. There we go.
I may ask our guest to send me a pizza or something, one of those crust liners that he, markets, sells, does his thing.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Gassert, we are ready to go live. When we come back from our little intro videos, I'll have you introduce our guest today.
Okay, cool. Yeah, okay, cool. So I'd be glad to do it.
I'm excited to have that conversation with our guest today. So I'll go ahead and get our intros out, and we'll be right back. Elevate your profits. There we go. Elevate your profits. I can play that again. Get me jazzed up a little bit.
No, I'm awake, man.
You know, this daylight savings thing, it kicks part of my butt. Yeah, I feel like taking a nap right now. So get some energy going. You have some late afternoon coffee or something. And
cool.
It's dark here and rainy in Wisconsin, and we're supposed to get snow next week. So
oh wow.
That 4-letter word here in Wisconsin, dreaded word, snow.
Yes. All we do is get rain here in Peachtree Corners, Georgia. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So, Tom, do you want me to, tell the folks what Elevate Your Profits is about and get into our guest, and then we'll get rocking and rolling? Or how do you want to roll with this?
When we do this, we'll just go ahead and share why we do what we do, and I'll have you introduce our guest.
Beautiful. Glad to do it. Eric Bam, he lives in Bixby, Oklahoma. Eric was the very first person that I actually interviewed back in the day, pre-COVID. It was Mark's Message. And that was kind of fun when we were all jumping on board here and doing the live stream thing. And there's a lot of people now that do them. They have podcasts. There's so many different channels and things out there. I can't even keep up with it, Tom. But to get back to Eric, he is a husband to Megan. He's a father, an author, public speaker. He's the VP in sales and marketing of Perfect Crust Liners. That's a mouthful. So when you see Eric come on here and say, we want pizza, that's why. I know Eric is not at a loss for words, and I am not going to steal his thunder. We're going to talk tonight about his book, A Roadmap Back to You. I think all I'm going to say is, and he'll do the rest, when you hear him speak, he'll get you energized. He'll get you up. There it is. Dreaming again, a roadmap back to you. So with that said, we all need to do that day in and day out. It's a hard thing to do. A lot of challenges, roadblocks get in our lives. And, it's a matter, I often said and say, how you handle things. And let's bring Eric on. Let's bring the man on here and let him do his thing.
Eric, good afternoon, good evening, wherever we are. So,
hey, fellas,
Bixby, Oklahoma.
Thank you for having me on. I love to watch the show every Monday. So,
well, thank you.
I love watching the show every Monday with you, fellas.
You watch two old guys stumble and bumble at their finest here. It's like, but you got to laugh itself. And Eric, just real quick before you get into it, what inspired you to write, and the why behind your book? What did you one day you taken a walk or did something click in your brain? And, we all go through trials and tribulations. We all go through fire. is that something that inspired you personally? Is something happened to your life that said, hey, you know what? I need to start taking the pen and paper. And, I know we're in the technologically minded age, but people still do write. And is that what inspired you to write this manuscript?
Uh, yes and no. Honestly, the big thing was I've tried to look the last few years, 3 or 4 years, about using my social media as somewhat of an online diary or an online photo album. You think back to going to your grandma's house, your nana's house, and you'd see that coffee table and it had photo albums on it. Right.
Right.
And anymore, I mean, I can look at my Facebook and look at my memories, and I've been on Facebook for 15 years. And that is I don't use social media to complain about politics. I don't use it to talk about all that other crap that's going on in the world. I use it to talk about what's going on with my family and to have it there forever. And I use it to kind of help grow the business a little bit along the way. And so really what caused me, Mark, to write this one day was I'm 54 years old. And I've got a 27-year-old son, but then I've got a 12 and a 5-year-old started over, and I look at my 5-year-old Ruby Doo, and I thought to myself, like, 20 years from now, she could be 25 years old and getting married. And you know what? I could be long gone, fellas.
Yeah.
I really could.
Yeah.
And I hope I'm not, but it made me kind of really think one day about the things that it took me 40, 45 years to learn. And I want that to be out there for them so they can see kind of, hey, this is what was going on in his mind. And if you read, the beginning, I say that this is for, what is an online coffee table book? Shut up, Sean. But this is for my grandkids and my great grandkids. And I want them to learn that as you get older, to not stop dreaming. And not stop setting goals for yourself. And so that's kind of where it started. And honestly, I sat down one Saturday afternoon, opened a bottle of wine, and off I went. And this is what came out. So what did Eric think about the Trump dance being done in the celebration by the NFL? I don't have a comment on that. Don't care, honestly. So I'll somewhat address that. Hey, I'm not a big political person. It's not my job. I'm gonna get up and do what I need to do every day to be successful, because it's my race to run against me, and I just don't put a lot of stock into who the president of the United States is. I don't. And he won, and people got up and went to work the next day. And guess what? If he had lost, people would have got up and went to work the next day. We still got to pay the bills. We still got to figure it all out. I just don't put that much stock into who the president is. I just, for me, it just doesn't matter that much.
Beautiful.
So
that is so true. Whether you're left, right, in between, neutral, yeah, we're all going to have to do what we have to do day in and day out, regardless of who's sitting in the proverbial White House.
Still got
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like I said, and Sean, Sean's the same way. I know which way Sean leans. I don't know. It's not even a lean. He falls. I know which way he falls. and like I said, to each their own. It's just like I said, regardless, it's still our race to run. And kind of leading back into this book, I find like my son who's 27 is naive to the world in a lot of ways, which is kind of silly, but being naive to the world in a lot of ways is a great thing because it allows you to just go do what you want. And we become hardened and as we get older, and we forget to keep dreaming about what we want, keep thinking about what we want, and writing it down. I carry around, this is my 4th or 5th year to have a goal card, and on one side I have the things I want for me and my family, and on the other side I have the things I need to do every day to get there. And we stop dreaming, we stop wishing, and I had, you guys doing the show is a great example. I had a friend a few years back who said, well, I could never do a podcast. I could never do this. Well, yeah, you can. I mean, you guys, I don't want to say this is easy, but once you start doing this, it becomes easy. You understand how to do it. And if you go back and watch your first show to this show, the improvement is immense, and you figure it out and you get better. But the people that say, well, I can't do that, it's just, you ain't dead. I'm 54. I think I'm a rocket still about 102. So I got a long way to go, fellas. So it's that sort of stuff is weird to me. I have another friend recently who we're in the food industry, and he's at a food show every week. And I sent him a message one morning, because one of the things on my goal card is I send 20 voice message DMs every morning. And I sent him a message one morning, like 5:45. I sent him a voice text. I said, hey, man, I was thinking about you. Hope you had a great week. I can't believe I didn't see you last week. Anyway, and he replied back, said, man, can't believe you sent me a message this morning. And he said, I've got to figure out a different way to reach people versus being in front of them at these shows every single week. Boom, 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 52 weeks a year. And I said, guess what? I'm doing it right now. And it's by sending a voice text message or a voice DM on Facebook. I do a ton of them on Instagram every morning, because you can hear tone, you can hear inflection, you can hear sarcasm, you can hear laughter. And it's just another great way. I'm a little caffeinated this afternoon, so I may roll just a little bit. But I found myself recently thinking a lot about Zig Ziglar. And I know you guys know Zig Ziglar, and I look and you think about today's age, and here's this guy who I'm talking to a couple weeks ago who says, he literally taught when I was voice messaging him. He said, I can't do that. I said, well, how old are you? He's like, I'm 55. Like he's done. I'm like, I'm 55, I'm doing it. And I look at that and I think about social media and what we have today, and Zig Ziglar would be voice DMing. He'd be sending videos. He would find there's so many great ways to reach out and be in front of people without being in front of people. And it's just such a weird dynamic. And by the way, I love that most salespeople don't get it, because it makes it great for me, because I do it every day. So, and people are still like, that's so crazy. That's so unique. It's not. It's out there for everybody to do.
I want to go back to the gold card. How long have you been using a gold card like that?
Your gold card. Explain to Tom about your gold
about
card.
4 years. Yep.
Is that a principle you learned from?
So
like Bob Proctor?
It's laminated.
Yep.
I don't remember when I started doing it or why. Probably a Bob Proctor thing. But I just, for me, this works. So for me to have it in my pocket, and I intentionally, carry a couple of credit cards and my driver's license around in my pocket with me now, because I have to look at this and it makes me look at it. So, and I've changed it. I've got a couple older ones sitting here. When I first started doing it, I actually hand wrote and then I laminated it. And now I actually just take and print it. Like I've got it printed off. I cut it down and I go to the FedEx store and I walk in, and these guys see me do it enough now. They got a little laminator machine, cost me 99 cents. Walk in, laminate it, cut it down, put it right in my pocket. I will tell you, one of the things I really screwed up on this, I love it and I hate it at the same time, but everything on the things that I need to do every day, pray every morning, 10,000 steps a day, 64 ounces of water, write for 30 minutes, 1 hour of sample calls, which is a work thing, one video a day that I post, whether it's on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, wherever, 20 DMs a day. But the second one on here says serve Megan, which is my wife. And everything on this thing is very specific, but that serve Megan is very open-ended. And there have been days I'm like, did I serve you today? And she's like, yeah, you did this and this and this. And it makes me, really kind of think a little bit versus, instead of saying make Megan coffee, it's just kind of very broad. I like I said, I love it. I hate it, so
I tell you what, I told you're an example of, by having a gold card, a lot of people think that's hokey pokey, but if you really understand what it does to you emotionally as well as psychologically, it's powerful. Those that do the things that you just talked about start accomplishing more in their lives, whether it be personal, whether it be the business, whatever, is that it keeps in front of them, their why is always there. I always like to say, what are you grateful for today? It keeps life in perspective. You don't have to worry about the politics of the world or the ups and downs of business and that type of thing. I also carry this around with me. It's from Bob Proctor. It's a little coin on it. It has R&R, react or respond. So it keeps me in a place, when I'm out of sorts a little bit, I'll pick this up and touch it. It's like reading an affirmation.
Yep.
And so I want to congratulate on that, because I think these are little tips that when you see people are succeeding in a way, you go, wow, that guy's different. That guy's got something going differently. What is it? It's the little things that we don't think about.
Yeah. It's part of the book too, where I talk about that, we talk about goals and talk about what do you want for your life and what is it? And for me, it's write it down, talk about it, pray about it, tell your friends about it, follow people on social media that can help you get to where you want to go. It's amazing in life when you write down, I want to go on a family vacation, and then you start like really thinking about it, and then you start seeing other families going on family vacations, and then stuff starts popping up in your timelines of like, oh, go here, it's like if you ever thought about buying a red Corvette, you start seeing red Corvettes everywhere, and too many people our age, they've stopped thinking about what they want. They've checked out. I in my book, I call them zombies. They're mom zombies and dad zombies, and they go to work and they come home and they can't wait for Friday and they can't wait for 5 o'clock, and there's no passion in their life because they've just forgotten about that. And I was blessed. I got to speak. I was the guest speaker at a convention a couple weeks back, and I told them a story about how I gotten divorced and bought a house, and I like blueberry bagels, right? And I'm like, wow, I got some blueberry bagels, got some cream cheese. I'm like, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great. So then the next morning, I'm gonna have a bagel. I didn't have a toaster, right? No toaster. So that was like on a Friday morning. Well, my goal for Saturday, I'm going to get a toaster. And I walk into Walmart, I'm like, I'm getting me a toaster, and I was fired up, but you know what? Because it was something I wanted. And it was, I wasn't going like, oh, dadgummit, I can't ever have toast again or can't have a bagel. But, there are people that probably do that just moan and bellyache about the fact they don't have a toaster. Well, go get one. I talk about it in this book as well. I think a lot of times we need to learn to listen to our intuition, because I think our intuition is God, the universe, the divine, whatever you'd like to call it. I think it's God. And I think, there are moments in our life that I try to listen to that all the time. We think of intuition as like, don't walk down that dark alley, right? But that's not always the case. I mean, sometimes I've heard enough in my head and in my heart, I should buy breakfast for the person behind me at McDonald's. And so I just start doing it. And I'll tell you, little things in my life. I remember the first time I heard that, I was at the McDonald's in Glenpool. It was in the morning, and something made me think it's buy breakfast for this older guy behind me. And I did. I went ahead and bought his breakfast. And the first window, I paid for it. The second window, I got up there, and I'm hoping they give me my food fast so I can get out of there, because I'm kind of weirdly not embarrassed, but like, it's awkward, weird, And so, of course, I pull up to that second window, and they say, hey, be just a second on the coffee. I'm like, all right. And they hand me the sausage biscuit or whatever. And I see the guy behind me. He's in a white van. I'll never forget it. He literally puts his van in park and gets out, and he has to be in his probably early 70s, something like that. And he walked up to my car, and he looked, he goes, why did you do that? I said, well, I just felt like buying you breakfast today. And he got choked up. He just come from the hospital. His wife's been in the hospital for like 6 weeks. He said, I literally have $6 to my name right now, but all I wanted was a cup of coffee and a sausage biscuit. And he had a senior discount, and I paid for it. And you know what? It was like, now I don't even question it now. Like I just do it, And I think a lot of times when I hear intuition, to do things, 99% of the time, it's usually to help someone else, to do something for us, to give. And I find myself more and more, I don't think about I don't think about the blessing that I get from it, because I do, right? But I'll tell you what I think about all the time now is, like, if God lays something on my heart to do it, or God lays something on your heart to do it, and you don't, and you blow it off, I can't imagine how pissed off God is, because
Right.
you don't know what that other person's going through. And that could be the thing that they need to get them through the day. And so when you have a moment that, like, hey, I should send Mark a message, do it. Hey, I should send Tom a message, do it. Hey, I should send Sean Litvak a message, do it. Because like I said, I think when those come on you and are laid on your heart and your mind, man, that's God working through you to bless somebody else that probably needs it that day. And just imagine the day that you need it and it's put on Mark's heart and Mark doesn't do it. It's like you needed it that day. And
Right.
so I'm really big on listening to intuition. I'll tell you, the house I'm in right now, bought this house a little over 2 years ago. Got divorced. That house that I didn't have the toaster in, I bought it, was in that house for 11 months. Went out one day to check the mailbox, turned around, and I'm sitting there with like junk mail in my hand. I turned around, and with just every ounce of my fiber, I heard, it's time to move. And I was like, okay. And so within 10 minutes, and I'm all about taking action, right? We got to take action on what we want and what comes in our minds and what comes to our hearts. We've got to take action on it. And I text my mortgage guy. I said, hey, I need a new house, and here's where I want to be, which is in the area I'm at. And before I'm done talking to him on the phone, I've already got he said, you need to talk to this realtor. She knows blah, 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 blah. And before you know it, like, all the pieces fall into place. And I got my car that night and drove around. And this neighborhood was the first neighborhood I drove in, is gated, and the gates were open that day.
Oh
of
my
course.
goodness.
I drive through, and there's a guy standing out there, and he waved at me. I'm like, hey, there was kids playing, and I was just like, oh my gosh. And so I drove around 4 or 5 neighborhoods out here where I'm at. And Sunday morning, I meet the realtor, and this neighborhood, this house was the first place we came to. And I don't think those are coincidences, and
Right.
but I think for me, a lot of times, I think you get to our age, gentlemen, and you have the vast majority of us as adults have just we've forgotten how to dream. We've stopped. We don't listen. We just checked out. Right. And then you have the people that do kind of listen, and they go, well, I wish I had that. I wish we could do, but then you have the very rare amount, Tom, to your point about having this gold card is you have the very rare amount of people that they hear it, they know what they want, and they put some action behind it, and they go get that stuff. They go get what they want. They go listen to what they should do. They go buy breakfast. They go, a year ago, Megan and I were donating 4,000 socks today. Like, you go do it. You go do it. You got to put action into your life, because if you don't, nothing happens.
Very good. Very well said. Look at this man roll. So
it's quiet. It's quiet. Do you want me to keep? I could keep talking.
No, it's all good. I just, when you mentioned here about how you help people identify their dreams, okay, and how you overcome obstacles, and I want you to touch on that, because as we do get older in life, we do all have challenges that can be personal, it can be financial, it can be from a business perspective, a business that's failed. And I always look at that as a learning mechanism and not a failure. Now, I know Tom will disagree with my saying. There's a saying in baseball, failure way to success. And what they mean is a batter has to just like block out, I struck out, learn from it, next at bat, different deal. But with that, you can't think like I failed. Okay, what did I learn from this? It could even be a blown call. It could even be a blown podcast, virtual, whatever. And I think a lot of times we put the monkey on our own back. We like badmouth ourselves, our self-talk. I mean,
Yep.
I'm going to share something. When I have an issue, there's a gentleman that was my grandfather, and his name's Jacob, who my oldest is named after. His claim to fame was always the problems that you have 9 times out of 10, you created them. I know that's hardcore, but go look in the mirror. You got a marital problem, you know, who created it? And I'm not saying that to be mean, but it all kind of makes sense. And that's when it goes back to how you handle it. Now, he had stronger words as a miner and or a steel worker. I won't get into it right now, how it was said back in the day. Even my dad, who's a retired sergeant major, but his thing to me was, stop complaining as to what you don't have or can't do. How about showing us what you can do? And I think that's tough for people to just go look in the accountability mirror and do it.
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt.
Said and done.
There's no doubt. You know, I don't want to say
you share what you do. I mean, I'm always.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say I love failing. Like, no one loves to fail, right? But that's how you learn. See, failure's not fatal. Like, failure's not career ending. I think so many people think that, like, oh, if I tried something and it failed, like, oh, my boss is going to fire me. No, you learn. That's how you get better. And you know what? That's how you get experience. It's how you like learn how, you know, what to do and what to expect. And you know, like I said, what do they say? Failing is first attempt in learning. Right. And you've got to fail. And I talk about that in my book. Like, fail, man. Fail all you want. Fail all you can, because it's how you learn. It's how you figure out life. I mean, if we all just sit paralyzed on our couch because we're so afraid of failing, we won't do anything. And I'll tell you, one of the things I talk to my kids, I talk to my 12-year-old about right now, and my son, my 5-year-old is still too young to figure it out, but we become so paralyzed to what other people might think about what we might want to do that we do nothing. And the reality is, they're not even thinking about you because they're worried about what everybody's going to think about them. And man, we've got to get up in the morning and go do shit. Go do it. You have to. You've got to go do stuff. You've got to go do stuff in your life, because I'm telling you, you know what? Every day I get closer in my deathbed, and I don't think I'm gonna lay on my deathbed and say, I wish I'd done less.
Right.
You know, we just don't do that.
Yeah.
We want to do more. We
That's
want to
important,
see more. We want to
you know.
succeed.
Right. What you just said there, worrying what others
We've got to keep trying. We've got to keep pushing forward. Yep.
You can't let that weight you down.
It is the craziest thing when you really think about it.
Because they're not thinking about us.
It is absolutely crazy.
No, they're not thinking about us. You know, like you know, your favorite subject.
Right. If somebody's really, really consumed with what you're doing, they probably really love you.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. If somebody really is consumed with what you're doing, they probably really love you and care about you. So let those people care about you. You know,
you and I have something in common.
So, I think the other interesting thing about, go ahead.
I was going to say, I didn't mean to interrupt you. 27-year-old. So you got that.
Yeah. Is your son buying Bitcoin left and right?
Yeah, he's bought some. He's an accountant, but they want it all like now. I kiddingly, when I say this, that it's like, if you mention the word delayed gratification, that's like, huh? What's that? And my younger son now, being a grad assistant, we went to his game. He coached. And I was telling Tom this earlier today. None of those guys looked like my son, but they had the utmost respect for him. And 2 of those guys were all conference running backs. And you could see how they looked up to him, and they said, Mr. Gassert, he's got it. He's doing us a great job. He's a good coach.
Right.
And he's trying to relate to people. It's neat to watch your kids grow up. And yesterday he shared a lot about people. And you know, being in coaching now, that's another area that I've never done it, but God bless him. I said, keep your house on wheels, my friend. you know.
Yeah,
And
right. No kidding. You know, I will. I'll pick at you a little bit on the whole generation thing, because I think we tend to look at that younger generation and say, well, they all want it now, and they're impatient. But you know what? I was impatient. I think
no,
our
we
parents
are
probably said that stuff about us. I think
sure.
I don't think this next generation is. I don't think it's going to be the end of the United States. And
Oh no.
they're just, you know what? They're different. We
Yep.
were different. I mean, things change and evolve, and I don't necessarily. I don't have a problem with
Oh no, I'm just saying. I
coming
think they're going to
behind
be
us.
tremendous performers out there that we don't even know of.
You know what? There's always going to be people that just aren't good at life, right? But there are a
Mhm.
lot of those kids. My son's one of them. He's a great freaking kid. He gets up and
Right,
works hard, and he's a
right.
great husband, and he's going to be a great father, and I've no doubt. And he's an amazing kid. And you know, there are a lot of them out there. I think they get a bad rap, and I think social media, as much as I enjoy it, I do
Sure.
think it's harder on kids. But you know what? But
Right,
it's also part of it. And so we look at kids and we see videos of stupid kids doing stupid crap, but
right.
it's more accessible to us now too than it ever was with us. You know, so
Thank God
I
they
don't
didn't
think the
have
next
it when we
generation is
were
awful.
younger,
They're great kids.
or even when Tom was younger. Thank
No
God they
kidding,
didn't
right?
have it. They would probably go, "Wow,
Well, when
those
Tom
guys."
was
I'm a
younger, they had
senior here.
stone tablets, right?
We were still trying to figure out
Mark,
how to make
when Tom was younger,
papyrus.
they had stone tablets, right?
That's
Stone,
it.
did you catch that, Tom? Like
Tom was trying to
chiseling.
carry around fire. So
Yeah. Oh
will
Yeah.
you
God.
go to prom with me? Clink, clink, clink,
Yeah.
clink, clink, clink. Yeah. Tom was trying to, you know, have a fire. That's all he was doing.
Smoke
Caveman.
signals.
But you know, I get up, man, every day, fellas. You know, for the most part, I'm excited about life, and I get up every day. And one of the coolest things is to have a 27-year-old, but then to have these two young
Yep.
ones, you know, to have a 5-year-old who,
That's got to be awesome.
you know,
Yeah.
I've had a couple. Why'd you write the book? And I'm like, yeah, I wrote it for Ruby. You know,
Yeah.
that's why.
Nice.
So,
That's very cool.
yeah, they keep me young for sure. Keep me hopping.
And they can get your book at that scrolling
It's all good.
banner.
Is that correct for us to get the book? Anybody?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Dreaming Again book. You can go there. Yeah, you could. There's a link down. If you go to the website, there's a link there. It takes you straight to Amazon. In fact, starting today, you can pick this up for 99 cents on Kindle.
Oh, wow.
And running a Black Friday special on this through next week.
Cool.
So please
I'm-
go pick one up.
Thank you, Eric. And the reason I'm laughing at Sean Litvak's statement here. I'm very happy there weren't smartphones during college. That's and amen to that. And that's all I'm going to say. Yes, because if there
Right?
were,
Or
I would
Chat
be
GPT.
a dead man. Yes.
Or Chat GPT, right?
Oh Lord,
I
yes.
saw a post from Sean on LinkedIn the other day, and I was pretty sure his photo was AI. I'm pretty sure. So I mean, he looked way too good. He looked tan and just looked amazing. I was like, that's not the guy I know. But hey, I know we're kind of coming up against the end of this, but I just on my mind a lot lately is I fail my wife every day. I fail my kids every day. I fail my employer every day. I fail myself every day. But I don't beat myself up over it. You get up and you figure it out, and you try to get better and put a little more action into it and be more present and be more available. And that's 9 times out of 10 where I fail, just not available, you know. And sometimes it's just here. It's just right here, you know, or it's right here. I told my son the other day, there's my wife. Oh, there's my daughter-in-law just walked in too. I told my son the other day that I struggle right now. Just sit down and watch a movie because I'm too, there's stuff going on here all the time. I struggle just to sit down sometimes and pay attention.
Yes.
You know, so I you know, I would just kind of, for me to finish on that and just say, man, be available and be present and put your phone down a little bit, because I'm way guilty of it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, are you finding it tough to put this down sometimes? You know, like you just mentioned that.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah. It's easy to watch a sporting event. It's easy to watch a basketball game or a football game because you kind of in and out. But just I tried to watch 3 movies the other night. I couldn't start. I didn't finish it. I did just like, man, next, just kind of move on, because I couldn't find anything to really just get me, So I legit 3 movies. So, but we've got to slow down a little bit, and I think that's the key, to slow down and appreciate what's around us,
Eric, I'm just going to ask you this question.
That's all.
Since you're involved with Perfect Crust Liners, you're a VP sales and marketing. How do you mentor younger people? Because I can see you doing that and encouraging to go out and perform, just talking to them in general. And I know you have to evaluate people and their performance. How does that process work for you?
At Perfect Crust, my team is, other than one, is about my age. Then one's a little younger. But when I was at my previous employer, had lots of employees that were younger. And I think for me, it's always to be somewhat like Pete Rose, not the betting Pete Rose, but to be a player coach.
Right.
Hey, I'm going to lead from the front, and I think it's constant conversations about learning and how do we get better and what did we do. If we made a sales call, is to walk out and say, what did we do right and what did we do wrong, and how can we get better from it, and to literally have those conversations. And I think, and the other thing for me is I'm very, very good about telling my guys I appreciate them, and because I think we all want to be validated in our lives. We all want to feel important. And so for me, it's very important to tell my guys, at the right times. It's not that I don't want them to feel like I'm doing it just to do it, but at the right times to catch them and say, hey, Brian, I appreciate you, man. I saw what you did this week. Or Lane, hey, great job. I saw what you did in California this week. Or Greg, or what. And I think that's a huge part of it. I think is to be really a player coach and to be involved and to point people in the right direction. You still want to teach them how to fish. You don't want to catch all the fish for them. You still want to teach them how, but it's the why. Why do we do this? My dad, who's a butthole of a father, he was that one that, do as I say, not as I do, and all that crap. And if you ask, well, why are we doing this? Well, you don't worry about it. Like, well, I'm inquisitive. I want to understand. I want to understand the sales cycle, or I want to understand, hey, why do we load the dishwasher this way, at home with the kids, or what, those things are important. I think that's part of it. And I think being a good player coach is tough. I don't think there's a lot of it out there as much as there probably maybe used to be. And maybe that's me overthinking it, but I just think that's hugely important. Learn to point people in the right direction, coach them up every day, teach them every day, educate them every day, and tell them you appreciate them.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Great wisdom.
Just
I can't
like
wait to get your book.
Mark.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you too. And I love your comments, even when you're kidding undercover, like Tom brings a lot of value. And Mark, whatever. And, I can take that.
I will send you guys both a code for the audiobook for free. So you guys can listen to it, which is cool. So
is it your voice?
No, it's not. Which is funny because I normally 9 times out of 10, if it's not author read, I won't listen to it. When the author reads the book, it just hits different, right? But I didn't have the technology to do it, and but the guy who read it, once again, back to a God thing. I think I listened to 400 voices of 400 different people, and I literally shut my laptop, and then something inside of me said, "Listen to one more," and I opened it up. There it was. He was the guy, and he was awesome, absolutely awesome.
Cool. Well, I appreciate what you're sharing, your gold card and how important that is. And
I like that,
keeping your vision in front of you. And something I was going to enter
things stuck on my screen and along here the wall, but I may do that. That you inspired me to actually take some of that stuff and extrapolate it and laminate it and keep it in my pocket. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good
Those
idea.
little principles work.
You know what? And break it down. I will tell you some of the goal stuff that I want on there, and I think this is maybe my fourth or fifth one. You find sometimes there are things that you think you really want, but then as the course of the year goes by, you realize, like, you know what? Maybe that wasn't that important to me, because you find yourself not putting the work into it. You find yourself putting the work into the things that are important. So it is interesting to see how the mindset kind of changes, shifts a little bit on what's important and what's not.
Yeah, I think that goes to a point that my wife taught me. A lot of people don't know what they want, but we do know what we don't want. And I always tell people to start with what you don't want in your life, and then start putting those things in that are the opposite of it. And you'll start achieving. And having the goal card, the written game plan, all that. Harvard did a study. I don't know if you heard these numbers, that only 5% of the survey of the Harvard graduates had clear written goals, not just I want to lose 40 pounds, or I want to make 100,000 a year, or whatever the case may be. Had clear written goals. 5% had deep written goals. Another 5% do what most people do. It's New Year's, they make some sort of resolution, and then 2 weeks later it's forgotten because they hit an obstacle. And 80% of people don't have any sort of written goal. Even as simple as the goal card, but what they found out, that 5% made 20 times more than the other 80% combined.
Yeah.
So when people say, well, that's hokey pokey, find those people that are doing something special in life, see what they're doing. They don't talk about goals. They talk about their vision, their purpose, their why. And that is the driving force. That's the emotional attachment that's going to get you through if you're asking yourself that question, the how, it leads to can't.
Yeah.
The emotional attachment, no matter what obstacle comes up, you're going to be able to figure a way to overcome it, get around it, get over it, blow it up, whatever the case may be. So I appreciate what you're talking about, because it's totally in alignment with some things I've learned myself, having some great coaches and mentors in my life, speaking the same things you're saying. Nothing different. We didn't create this. This is all natural law. I put it that way. It's divine.
Oh, I agree.
He mentioned the man himself, Zig Ziglar. He had a very unique way. I saw him speak 3 times and never got bored.
No. Tom, to kind of come back to what you said regarding like New Year's resolutions. I'm not a big fan of New Year's resolutions from the standpoint that it's stuff we don't want. I don't want this. I don't want it's all. And instead of that, it needs to be focused on the things I do want, because when you put enough things in your life that you do want, the things you don't want, there's no time for them. It pushes them out of the picture. So New Year's resolutions don't need to be like, I need to lose 20 pounds. New Year's resolution needs to be, I need to go. I want to go for a walk every day. I want to listen to an audiobook. When you start sprinkling that stuff in, the things you do want, those things get pushed out. There's no time for them. So we've got to change the way we think about those as well, because they're goal lists, right? They should be.
Yeah.
So.
And we have a
this
gentleman,
has been fun, fellas.
Taru, before we leave, Taru Watanabe, he is, I asked him if he's still letting him go in Tokyo. I remember him on the mornings. So thank you, Taru, for joining us.
Get him live.
Yeah. So there are still a lot of people out doing this, and Tom and I kid about, I ask him that question. I would always ask him that question, and they're like, what does that mean? I said, it means what it means, man. Are you out there doing it?
It just is what it is, right? That's
a
gasser, right?
That's a gasserdism, I guess. But Eric, I really want to thank you for taking the time, number one, to join us. I know you're busy. You're a husband, a father, and the fact that you've got kids at this spectrum now, adult versus, a 5-year-old, that's amazing that, you're now dealing with that.
Yeah.
I'm sure you look in the mirror sometimes and say, oh man, I'm screwing this up again. But I kiddingly say that because you've been through it, and
Oh, every day, man.
Yeah,
every day,
and I'm sure you learn from your daughter.
So every day I feel it up.
Yeah, it's tremendous. I
Good
always used to
stuff.
beat myself. And I'm going to say thank you to Sean, Adam, Taru, Tim Lord. Who did I leave out? Randy Chafee, who I got to meet at a trade show. And there's nothing like face to face. It was wild. I finally got to meet the man,
Yeah.
and we met at MetalCon, and that was a blast. We acted like a bunch of 2 year
Yeah,
old
Randy's awesome.
in front of the camera, but we stood in front of the give camera,
sure.
and I said, "You ready for this?" And he goes, "What are we going to do? Just do something, man. Don't worry about it. Just have fun with
I
it."
love it. Love it.
But no,
Love it.
I really enjoy your philosophy, and I know you're real big about putting things out there, like DMing people with your voice, sending direct messages to people with a pic, actual video. I know you're real big about that. So, and that speaks volumes.
Huge. It's huge. You know who does it in the sales world?
I know.
No one.
I've been doing that, and people like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like,
Yeah.
just saying hi, and just to say hello, and they're like, good Lord, this guy don't quit.
Yeah, it's different. It's different. It's different for sure. So
yeah, it is. It's a different approach. So
Yep.
yeah, why not? Have fun with it.
Yep.
Tom, got anything else to add since I'm stumbling and bumbling here?
No, you're doing a great job. I appreciate Mark being on and Eric being on, excuse me, and
You know what?
planting the seeds of wisdom.
We need to get Sean back on here as well. And I'd love to have Tim Lord come on and talk about his business and what he
Send
does.
those guys a deal. They love to
And
be
are
on.
you still doing I don't get always a chance to watch it. What was that called? The penalty box? Are you guys
No,
still?
we you know what? After COVID kind of ended, we just
Yeah.
kind of get back to being busy doing other stuff. We had a blast doing that. We had some
Yeah.
great guests on, and it was so much fun. But we just kind of pulled away from it a little bit. So that's all right.
No, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Well, we're getting a chance to meet people more now face to face as opposed to this. I'm not against this.
Yep.
I think this is great. So I can still see you and get to see your vibrant face and that Cheshire Cat smile of yours. Yeah. Like there's always, when I think of you, there's always something that I don't know, but that's okay.
Now I learned it from Tom though. So
yeah. Probably did, probably did. Well, Tom, do you got anything to add here? Because we're going to probably
we're done. We'll wrap it up. We'll put Eric in the back room. He can finish up the M&Ms that we left him. Hopefully the color you like.
They could be from last year. I don't know. Watch it, Eric.
Any of them. I'm good.
Okay.
Right. Hang tight. We'll be right back. Always a pleasure to hear Eric.
Oh, no, it's good. And, those are some of the things like I mentioned about Eric. I remember his direct messages. He's very, what I call low drag, high speed, which is good. I like being around people like that. They keep you going. And, that's why I said we need to get Sean and some of these other guys on here again and get them back, man, because I know they're out there doing it. They're making it happen. So always like to be around people like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I always enjoy our conversations every Monday. We won't tell you
Monday morning. Yep.
What time Tom and I get together in the morning, but it's kind of fun.
Well, it's definitely earlier here in Wisconsin.
It is. So. It is. It definitely is. But in all kidding, put that to rest. Do check out his book. Definitely Eric's quite the guy. And, I love that. A roadmap back to you, dreaming again. So he probably, he in pure BAM fashion will get you to think, within yourself. So anything else, Tom?
Just want to thank all those that jumped on tonight. Doug, Greg, some of these people I don't know. Tom Freeze, he was a guest of ours.
Yep.
Honest, Tim Hoover, Dave Ramsey.
Wow. Yep.
Of course, Eric, and then Randy and Doug Craig.
Adam Kuntz hopped on here, and thank you, Adam. Taru, thank you for watching. It's awesome to have you make an appearance. Let us know you're out there. Let us know how you're doing too.
Yeah. And I'm going to do a little commercial if you don't mind.
Oh, I know what's coming up here.
Queue Up Fundraising. Please tag and share out there. Who do you know that's in a nonprofit organization that needs capital raising? I've got a platform called Queue Up Fundraising that helps small nonprofit organizations raise residual passive income by sharing a home entertainment platform for streaming your movies, your sports, your local news, all that type of stuff at a substantially lower rate than anything that's out there. We're saving people about 50% on that. Eric had to jump off, it looked like.
Yep, that's okay.
So just wanted to put that out there. Part of my profits are also going to be going to 4 basic causes that I have a strong appeal. One is Tunnels to Tower, St. Jude's. Those are two big national causes I believe in and would like to support. And then 2 local causes, SOFA, helping bring drug awareness and resources to those that have drug addiction problems or families that have lost others to that scourge that's going on in our culture today. And then the Kiwanis Club will be getting proceeds from anybody that subscribes to the service. So check it out. Go to Queue Up Fundraising and find more about what we're doing. If you know somebody, just forward my link to them. We're glad to have that conversation to see if we can help them accomplish their goals by raising more money for their cause. With that, we are done, my friend.
Well, thank you, John, as always. It's always good to be here and grateful I'm back from my trip. Everything went well. I was listening as Eric was speaking. I wish I would have thought of some of his isms to bequeath some of the people as they were waiting in line to get on the plane, or, people's personalities have a tendency to change. And I'm sitting there laughing about stuff, but it's just wild to watch people, you move an inch, they move an inch. And oh man, some folks just, worry about self.
Yeah, we had quite a few attendees tonight. I'm so appreciative of that. Just tag and share this content out there. You never know how it's going to impact somebody who can help. One word of wisdom will change somebody's life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I want to thank Eric again for coming on, taking time out of his busy day, and we'll help support his book because I can't wait to get it because I know it's going to be full of wisdom and things to help you accomplish your goals and dreams. So with that all said, we'll sign it out. Anything else?
That's it, my friend.
Good night, everybody. See you next week.
You got it.